West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's 8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, September 26, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Jimmy Sengenberger. His latest piece coming out about Lakewood's shady school deal gets even shadier. Is the school board, the city council offloading some property out in Lakewood where they could have gotten a lot more money for it, but some shady business happening behind the scenes. Jimmy, with some great investigative reporting taking place. We're going to talk with him here in a second. Plus, he's got some updates on Do Better Denver. So we've got a lot to cover with Jimmy. You're not going to want to miss it. Now is time for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. 51 TGIF. I'm going to take my headphones off and just get a little reverb here. Some clouds in the sky in Denver. A high of 81 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about.
Well, that's an echo there, Blake. Like you're just feeding back. You're doing a circle.
Well, here, you guys work on it. I'll talk about Gyrie's here real quick.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
wife and I went into Gyrie's, and in fact, today we're getting the blinds installed, some remote control blinds. Awesome at our house. So Gyrie's has locations all throughout the Denver metro area, and they are this incredible company that provides personalized design consultation for your home. Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters, paint, and full room housing decor. They will come out to your house, do the measurements, bring samples. You can see what it's going to look like in your home. You're not left on your own, like if you're wandering around Home Depot or Lowe's trying to figure out what a color might be that's best for your paint or what types of blinds. They will actually provide personalized design consultation for you. And as I mentioned, will come directly to your house. So whether your curtains are clashing or you want a fresh look, Gyrie's has a solution. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from full window treatments to full room decor. Here's the best part. They offer the personalized in-home consultation. So visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation today. That's GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com, Gyrie's.com. Visit the great people there. You'll be sure to thank me. We're going to go back and get news with Blake Olson.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff. I felt like Lou Gehrig there. Okay, good morning. 51 TGIF, some clouds in the air, and we're expecting a high of 81 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story. Multiple countries' delegates storm out of the UN in New York last hour to protest Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Thousands protesting him outside and the Israeli government. DJT praising the indictment of former FBI Director James
Just a
Comey.
reminder real quick. They don't do that when North Korea speaks.
That's true.
They don't do
That's
it when
true.
terrible, oppressive countries speak.
No doubt.
I mean, the
No
United
doubt.
Nations is an absolute waste of time.
I agree.
And that's another example.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Here's James Comey.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either.
Man, especially around you. He's accused of lying to Congress, and there's a long list of evil and dirty deeds done dirt cheap by Comey, including almost ruining an innocent man's life. Well, actually, several, 4 or 5, 6. General Mike Flynn, one of those. Mike Davis, who spends a lot of time in Denver, always brings the heat.
Lawyer up, Big Jim, and we are going to be making the 6'6" prison jumpsuits as we speak, because this guy is a snake. He participated in the biggest scandal in American history. When they talk about the threat to democracy, Crossfire Hurricane and the cover-up is the gravest threat to democracy we've seen in America. And so justice is definitely coming.
A suspect is still at large following a pursuit and search in Clear Creek County. The county sheriff office says that a deputy spotted a suspect vehicle wanted as part of a trespassing investigation around 6 o'clock last night. The suspect reportedly fled in the vehicle before crashing on Highway 103. Officers began searching the surrounding area, but were unable to locate the suspect. He's described as black and 5'10", between 5'10" and 6 feet tall. The sheriff's office warns the suspect may be armed, and anyone who sees him should not approach. 47 is announcing new tariffs on drugs and other products starting in October. DJT said on Truth that 100% tariffs on pharmaceuticals will take effect October 1st unless drug makers start building U.S. factories. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence, led by Tulsi Gabbard, says it's eliminating the group that files the Global Trends Report because they were propagating a political agenda that ran counter to DJT's priorities. The Social Security Administration is encouraging recipients to switch their benefits to an electronic form of payment before the end of the month. A woman who tried to assassinate President Gerald Ford has passed away. Sarah Jane Moore died Wednesday in a Tennessee nursing home at the age of 95. She tried to assassinate President Ford in the late 70s. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordering hundreds of U.S. admirals and generals to head to Virginia for a meeting. The reason for the meeting is unclear, but multiple reports say it will take place at the Quantico base in Virginia. Fat Alvin Bragg, not only helped lead the weaponization of the justice system against DJT in New York, remember that, but also against Savannah Craven Entow, a pro-life advocate who was physically assaulted by a woman in April while conducting an interview about Planned Parenthood.
The entire shocking interaction was caught on camera by my husband, leaving no doubt that the assailant, Breonna J. Rivers, was not only guilty of aggravated assault, but also exulting over her own vicious criminal act. Rivers was arrested and reportedly charged with felony assault. But after an interview with 2 prosecutors, I was informed that the felony had been downgraded to a misdemeanor. Despite indisputable video evidence of brutal assault and battery, producing significant injury, trauma, and resulting in over $3,000 in medical bills. Over the next few weeks, the Office of the New York District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, infamous for its 2-tiered system of justice that favors criminals over victims, failed to pursue the case.
And they let her go. basically. Let her off. The video is incredible. She says no one should suffer physical violence for using their First Amendment right. That's right. Conservative pastor Vody Bachman Jr. passes away at the age of 56. The Ryder Cup is underway.
Boys nailed it.
Bryson DeChambeau just crushes it off the tee box at Bethpage Black. The United States against the Euros. Thursday Night Football.
From 52, the kick wobbles, but makes it through.
And the Seahawks beat the Cardinals 23-20. 49. Oh, I got a little word salad before we go.
You know, one of my favorite things to see, and it would always happen spontaneously at our rallies, and thousands of people would come. And there, it would happen, is invariably somebody would want me to take a picture or to hug their child. And someone in the back would hand that baby over through the crowd.
Up to you?
People who would
bless the baby.
But pass the baby.
See?
Wow. Sounds bombed there. 49 in North Glen, 50 in Parker, 51 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue.
And then pass the baby back.
Pass the baby back.
Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Gorgeous September weather here for the next few days for Denver in the Front Range. Temperatures will be very comfortable, mid to upper 70s today, low 80s Friday, upper 70s Saturday. Will be a touch cooler in the low to mid 70s Sunday. Today through Saturday, sunny and dry, maybe an isolated shower late Sunday, otherwise pleasant. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Pattern for Jimmy Sengenberger should be joining us soon. He's got a really interesting piece that he's releasing in his column today. It has to do with some funny dealing in Lakewood school system about whether or not when they're selling property, are they necessarily getting the highest market value, which is what they should be doing, but perhaps the authorization of sale, they do their buddies a solid. Okay, now, let's do a little bit of not-so-recent Denver history. All of y'all that might be new to the state that wonder why, when we built the airport out where it is, why that is not a straight line. Why, oh, why in the world is Pena Boulevard sort of snaky, wiggling around? Because, we know from math the quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. There's not a lot out there, so why not a straight line? Well, those that were around when the airport was being built will remember that once they decided on a location, everybody involved decided to go, and all the landowners and the Denver forefathers, all the movers and shakers, went and bought land between the Denver Metro and going out to the airport. So that road snakes the way it does so that it touches the property of all the important people so that they have the ability to develop. That's why that road does what it does and goes where it goes. They were paying off and giving favors to their friends. Is that what Lakewood School District is doing as well? Jimmy Sengenberger should be joining us shortly, but he's talking about a $4 million below market purchase of a shuttered 17-acre Emory Elementary. The plan was to flip 10 acres for the Jeffco Action Center for just $1 million. Jimmy says that's a sweetheart deal that ends up costing you and I money because When they're not getting market value, it means that you and I are selling our assets below market value. Would you turn around and give someone a huge discount on your house?
He's doing great investigative reporting. He joins us now, Jimmy Sengenberger. Good morning, Jimmy. Thanks for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for getting up early with us.
Good morning, guys. Always great to be here.
All right, so give us the detail on Lakewood's shady school deal that's getting even shadier.
You know, this is something I heard rumblings the beginning of last year about, and the first time I wrote anything related to the closed Emory Elementary was in February of 2024. And they were never transparent in the city or the school district about this throughout last year, to the point where the city of Lakewood had a couple executive sessions, which are closed door meetings in September of last year, that were only aware for the public, or the public was only aware of negotiations that they were concerning issues with negotiation, and nothing to do with Jefferson County Schools, nothing to do with Emory Elementary, which was closed in 2023, or anything of the sort. It wasn't until April of this year that the public really became aware of what was going on. And so I just want to say, before we get to the money aspect, guys, the process and the lack of transparency here has been utterly reprehensible on every level. I mean, there's a lot of distrust with politics in general. And in our local governments, we'd like to think that they're going to be at least a little bit more above board. And yet in Jeffco and Lakewood, that hasn't been the case. So I'll just kind of start there and let you guys take it.
Well, yeah, and the fact that they've been paying people like Ian Silveri, you know, the amount of money they do. There's a lot of problems in Jefferson County with regards to transparency, but I was particularly interested in this notion called municipal interest and this essentially ability to go around traditional processes of notification and public discussion by just claiming municipal interest. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is the process that Jeffco Schools staff put in place and informed, I think it was in January of 2024, informed the school board they'd done this. And basically it is a way for a municipality like Lakewood to say, you know what, we're interested in this closed school. Why don't you give us first dibs? And what happens is that triggers a process where there is no competitive bidding. It is all about negotiations with the city and only the city, and no process for public input. In fact, the school board was advised by a consultant that, you know what, you don't have to do any public input if you go through this process, which when I wrote about this first in February 2024, was about how there were a lot of questions from people about what was really going on here when you had this process that was being put in place for the school district and they're not being open about it. But yeah, literally any private developers that might want to build more housing or address it some other way completely cut out the picture. That was sort of step one to then allow for negotiations to happen. And the property is, according to the county assessor of Emory Elementary, worth just shy of $12 million, including $2.6 million that was put into the school building in upgrades prior to when it was closed in 2023. So we are looking at an upgraded school as of just a few years ago. And then Lakewood is able to swoop in and negotiate a price that is 1/3 of that $12 million value, and instead of market value, and they're able to get $4 million out of it. The idea is that they're going to sell this in turn to a nonprofit called the Jeffco Action Center, which provides services to vulnerable families, especially to homeless. And they are getting the building for $1 million. And this is on a 17-acre property, and that is 10 acres. City paying $4 million, Action Center paying $1 million, market value $12 million. Brought to you by a municipal interest process that cuts out private bidding.
It's shocking, and we're talking with Jimmy Sengenberger. He's a columnist with the Gazette. Jimmy, what do you think the motivation was? I mean, they could have gotten a lot more opportunity out of this. And to your point, they end up selling for a quarter, a third, and then the motivation being they want to hand it to a homeless nonprofit. What do you think's really going on here?
That's the real question, and I'm looking into that answer a little bit more. I mean, I think part of it could be ideological. That there is this idea of, oh, they're helping the homeless, so let's go ahead and do what we can. But then I scratch my head because there's another wrinkle here, guys, and that is the Action Center has 2 existing buildings that they own off of 14th and Colfax, and that's where they're at now. Valued at, I did the math, something at $1.7, $1.8 million. And guess what the city's doing? They are going to be buying both of those buildings. At the same time, they're authorizing that purchase. At the same time as they're authorizing the sale, before they've even completed the purchase of Emory Elementary, they are authorizing the sale of Emory Elementary. And that same day, they're authorizing the purchase of the existing Action Center buildings, which if they pay even just $1 million for those buildings, they're basically paying the Action Center the amount of money they need to spend $1 million buying Emory Elementary, meaning taxpayers are subsidizing both sides of this deal, the city and Action Center.
Now, Jimmy Sengenberger, columnist for the Gazette, former talk show host here at KNUS, joining Jeff and Bill live, talking about what appears to be a very shady deal between Jeffco County Schools and City of Lakewood. Now, I just want to kind of put a point in this, and I'll let you continue, Jimmy. So what you're outlining there is the nonprofit, the buildings they currently own are going to be purchased by the city at fair market value, but that same nonprofit will then turn around and be able to buy a city property at a massive discount. So the city and the taxpayers, from what I'm hearing from you, are going to pay full market value. We're doing it. But then when the thing is sold and maybe the city would recoup some money or something else, they're selling at a huge discount. Is that right? That can't possibly be right. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that's possibly what will happen.
Wow.
In that I don't know. There's no talk specifically about what the price will be, but I have to imagine that they are going to pay fair market value, which doesn't necessarily mean it'll be the full market valuation. You know how negotiations can happen even on buying a house.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the city is going to buy these 2 buildings, and let's say it's $1.8 million valuation, and they spend $1 million, and you would get a discount. Still providing the capital, cash that is needed for the Action Center to buy Emory from them at a fraction of the price the city of Lakewood will have paid Jeffco Schools.
Now, math is not my strong suit. I'm awful at it. But I think as you follow up on this, it would be very interesting to figure out the percentage of a discount that the nonprofit is getting on the location and facility. And then if the city ends up buying their buildings, what's the percentage of discount they get? If the percentage is vastly different, I got some questions. I got some big questions as to why the taxpayers don't get the same advantage that they're handing that nonprofit. That's just silly. I can't believe this.
It's like Lakewood is a municipal middleman for Sweetheart Deal, and that's all that's going on. Now, that's not to say that homeless services aren't worthy. Of course they are. And whether the Action Center is the right organization to do the job or not, it doesn't mean that you go behind closed doors for these kinds of negotiations, that you keep things from the public as much as possible. I mean, it wasn't until just before the city council in Lakewood voted in April to authorize negotiations for the purchase of the building of the property of Emory, the building and surrounding land, at $4 million, that the public was even aware this was happening, not until they had basically noticed those meetings. And for you to go through that process and then months later, this is happening just about a month from now, guys. October 27th will be second reading, meaning the final approval on both the sale of Emory Elementary, which they haven't even completed a purchase of and don't expect to until December, and the purchase of those two buildings, which nobody had any clue. In fact, I talked with a former city councilor, Richard Olver, who filed an affidavit in a lawsuit over the open meetings violation that last year, when they went into executive session in September, they didn't properly notice. Colorado law requires you're supposed to give specific details of an executive session, what it's about. Well, they didn't, to the point. Richard Olver, who was on the council at the time in September of last year, said, I don't know what this is about, so I'm voting no. In fact, he had a guess as to what the executive session was going to cover, and it was totally different. He thought they were going to be negotiating with the city manager on her contract, but it turned out that it was discussing negotiations with Jeffco Schools over at Emory Elementary. So a city councilor didn't even know that day of the executive session that they were talking about Emory. And then I talked to him this week, and he said, I had no idea until you're telling me now about the purchase of these two action center buildings that they've got now by the city. I mean, how can you be any less transparent than this?
Well, and Jimmy, I want to bring up this point too. It sounds like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that this deal is going to go through without the input of the community. Emory Elementary School right in the middle of a whole bunch of neighborhoods. So you got people that live all around Emory Elementary School who are now going to watch Emory Elementary School be turned over to a homeless nonprofit. That's going to change the dynamic in that community, and it sounds like they haven't had a say in that at all.
Yeah, there have been a couple of public meetings and whatnot where, like, for example, in April, when they had their vote to authorize the purchase of Emory, there were a handful of people who had become aware, who gave public comment to the city of Lakewood, but that was it. And then you go to last year with Jeffco Schools and the creation of the municipal interest process. They specifically cut out public input. So it's not something that they have to go through that process. So you're absolutely right. And it is in a neighborhood. That's why there are a lot of people who are concerned to the extent they're even aware of it. Now, they say it's not going to be an overnight homeless shelter, but when you have people coming from all around to access services, you have to wonder, where are they going to stay at night? And residents I've talked to in Lakewood are wondering that exact question. What's going to happen for those folks? I mean, my Jimmy Jr. Blues Band has a song, an original song I wrote called Shady Business Going On. And whether you're looking at Jeffco or Lakewood, this whole thing, shady business is going on, and there's no other way to slice it, guys.
That's Jimmy Sengenberger. We're talking about his latest piece in the Gazette titled Lakewood's Shady School Deal Gets Even Shadier. He's an absolute must-read in the Denver Gazette each week. And something else you point out is that the Jeffco schools could have gotten $12 million for this. We had a very unfortunate shooting at Evergreen High School where they didn't have a school resource officer, in part because the school doesn't have a lot of money and resources to put SROs in all these schools, and they're selling school property at below market value. It seems like that may be directly affecting Jeffco School's ability to get money there to protect kids and keep them safe. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, there's a $60 million structural deficit when you add it all up in Jeffco Schools. And my understanding is some of those schools are supposed to be getting, or at least a few of them, are supposed to be getting those secure vestibules at the entrances, which is one of those safety precautions that a lot of schools, for example, STEM and Highlands Ranch after the 2019 shooting, instituted one of those. And it's just an additional security procedure, but that requires capital funding that could be backfilled at least a little bit by the sale of district property. And that's not happening. I mean, this just goes to show the wastefulness of Jeffco Schools, which sometime soon is going to be wanting to get a bond and MLO going, mill levy override, to ask taxpayers for more money. And yet they can't even be remotely accountable for the money that they've got to keep kids safe or to make appropriate purchase deals with surrounding municipalities. It is stunning, especially because local government, this is the great irony, local government is the government that actually matters the most to our day-to-day lives, more than the state, more than the feds, because of the kinds of things that it deals with. And yet people happen to be less aware of what happens most locally. And guess what? Jeffco Schools, Lakewood, other school districts and municipalities prey upon that ignorance. And I think the biggest call for local folks, for everybody, is to pay more attention to what's happening in your city, your county, your school district, because you never know what kind of things might actually be going on.
It's really incredible reporting by Jimmy Sengenberger. You got to check him out over at the Denver Gazette. Lakewood's shady school deal gets even shadier. I want to pivot now, Jimmy. Speaking of paying attention locally, Do Better Denver. Out for a little bit, now back. What is happening there from your perspective? What have you heard?
I am not sure. I have not gotten an explanation myself as to the reasoning behind the disappearance and then the reappearance, but I can confirm, because I did so directly with the account administrator off of X. I was like, okay, is this legit? I got my confirmation that it is in fact returned. The account with the account administrator, the actual woman behind the account, who of course has remained anonymous. And for my Denver Gazette column a couple months back in, early in August, I did do an interview where I, unlike the Denver Post, maintained the anonymity of Do Better Denver for a variety of reasons that I thought were legitimate, and was able to do an interview for that column. I did learn the identity. I did verify that, because that's important for a journalistic piece like what I was doing for the Denver Gazette. Like I said, I'm maintaining that anonymity, but that gives me the ability to all the more confirm whether or not this was legit. And in fact, it is. I don't know what's going on in terms of any rationale. I'm very curious to learn that, hope to at some point soon. But the thing I am encouraged by is the fact that you had a lot of people, and the account was taken down by the administrator herself, who were concerned because they've been galvanized by the rise in a platform like Do Better Denver that was able to highlight things happening in the city that they wouldn't see otherwise. I can cover it in the Denver Gazette. You guys could do it here on KNUS. But when you see it on social media and you get to share around these videos or the Open Records Act requests and what they found on different things happening in the city of Denver or surrounding cities, and the list goes on, that gives an opportunity for everyday people to sort of latch on and connect in a way that maybe they can't otherwise. And I think that is a sign of an encouraging moment for folks. When we look at social media and all its failings, that it does provide a unique opportunity for everyday people to get access to and share this kind of information. And I think that's a good thing.
I agree entirely with you. I think that they are a gift to our community. When I saw them go away, I was concerned. And then we talked about this yesterday. You and Mandy Connell were able to sniff out what appeared to be a return, but under a different account name, but it wasn't actually them. That was a scam. You guys were on top of it. That account then got blocked and taken down by X. And now the real Do Better Denver back. They have confirmed it. You've confirmed it. So glad to have them back. That they're an important resource in holding our elected officials accountable for whether or not their policies are actually working. So glad to have them back. And Jimmy, you got some shows coming up. Tell people about how they can watch some of your performances.
You know, of course, and I'm on Zoom, so you can see this if you're watching on the live stream on KNUS. But I've got my briefcase full of blues not right by me because I need to warm up tonight. The Jimmy Jr. Blues Band is performing at the In the Zone Sports Bar and Grill in Golden from beginning at 7 o'clock. They play until 11. The weather promises to be beautiful, and we're out on the patio. Then next Friday night, 7:30, we'll be in Parker at the Dakota Tavern, which is a wonderful place. We've got some really special guests that I'll be announcing next week that will be joining us. And then we're at T-Birds Roadhouse up in Wheat Ridge on Saturday, October 11th from 5 to 8 p.m. All of this, Facebook.com/Jimmy Jr. Music or search Jimmy Jr. Blues Band on Facebook. But we've got a lot of gigs coming up and very excited to be able to play some blues.
He's playing right now, but I don't know if the Zoom's picking it up.
No,
that's funny. I don't know why the Zoom. We could see you play, but then all of a sudden the audio cut out.
It's the headphones. It's got to be the headphones.
Yeah.
Got the headphones. Nuts.
Jimmy, you're a Renaissance man. You're holding Lakewood and local government accountable. You're key to discovering the truth behind some of the fake accounts around Do Better Denver, and then helping get them reestablished again and confirming that the real true people are there, helping hold our elected officials accountable, and you're performing. Man, Jimmy.
So busy. It's fantastic.
You are on fire. We love it, and we appreciate you taking time to join us today. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Have a great weekend. Enjoy being on stage. That's where you really are at home, my friend. You're fantastic.
It'll be a blast.
Jimmy Sengenberger, be sure to read his pieces in the Denver Gazette. Let's talk Dan Caplis with Dan Caplis Law. I've known Dan for well over a decade. Pro-life, pro-family, pro-faith, pro-America. He's been delivering for the people of Colorado for 40 years and just secured a $200 million verdict in support of a family that lost their child in that terrible accident at the Glenwood Caverns. He gets justice. He wins. So if you've been hurt in a serious motor vehicle crash, you got to call Dan Caplis. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS. was Darius Rucker.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah. You know, he just started a brand new band this week.
Really? I didn't know
Darius
that.
Rucker. Yeah, we're going to take a little side trip here down Music Lane because that's kind of my gig. Darius Rucker announced this week he's got a new band. It's going to be a rock band. He's not getting Hootie back together. He's doing what is being termed as one of those super groups. Let me think. It's got a really weird name. Okay, the name of the band is Owl, Howl, Owl. So Owl, Howl, Owl. Very weird name. Now, but it is going to be Darius Rucker, Mike Mills, one of the founding members of REM, and the drummer from the Black Crowes, who's also a founding member there, whose name escapes me right now. But they're already doing, they've got a single that's supposed to drop end of this month, and they're scheduling dates to perform after that as well. So if that's kind of your thing, Owl, Howl, Owl is the brand new Darius Rucker-fronted band featuring Mike Mills from REM and the drummer from Black Crowes.
Always full of fun facts.
I know.
Bill Thorpe, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't do long division. And I know this stupid stuff.
Let's go to the phone lines. Pete Centennial, good morning, Pete. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill and Jeff. I really enjoy listening to you guys for one of the main reasons is both of you guys are Denver, Colorado guys. You know, you've got a long view. But you guys are two scorers. I'm a 3 scorer and 10, so I've got a little bit of longer view.
Yeah, you do.
And,
Yes, you do, sir. Yes, you do.
And, you know, I grew up in Denver, and I did a lot of business in Aurora and everything. And I thank you very much for giving Danielle Jurinsky an opportunity to, you know, share. I did go out to the Stampede, and it was a pure pleasure to be able to shake her hand because I honestly feel that I met a true hero yesterday.
Oh,
so
that's
thank
nice.
You for
tell me
getting
this.
the word out on that.
When you were out there, and I appreciate you going out and supporting the Aurora City Council. I mean, regardless of the fact that not every one of them agrees with me on a number of things, I enjoy who they are, and I enjoy their politics much more than the people that were there before them. And I appreciate what they've done to the city. I think they've done a great job, and I love me some Danielle Jurinsky. I know there's some times that I make her so mad with what I say on the air here, but I think that she is a wonderful person. Her heart and her morals are in the right place, and I trust her to make good decisions. Now, here's the thing, Pete. When you were out there at the Stampede, talk to me about what you heard that you think is really good. What messaging really resonated with you about the path forward for Aurora? Because as Danielle outlined on our airwaves, they are coming for her. They understand that she is the Spitfire. In many ways, this is going to sound like it's denigrating, but I don't mean it to be so. In many ways, she has the same fire and ability that I see in AOC. They're not the same, but I think that they have the same level of charisma and ability to communicate and to resonate with a particular voter base. And I think they're really, really good at it. I think Danielle's the best when she's speaking from her heart. So what did you hear last night that you really liked? What messages were really strong for you?
Well, you characterize her pretty accurately, Billy. And I think the thing that impressed me the most is, one, I learned her path to becoming a city council person. You know, you look at most council people and people who are in politics, well, you know, a great many of them, and they see politics as an avenue for career advancement and whatnot. Danielle didn't go into politics for that reason whatsoever. She went into that position because she saw what's happening to her city. And you guys both being Denver guys, you guys know that Aurora has always been the dumping ground for Denver and Denver's problems.
Yes.
And going out there last night, passing the Kennedy ball field. My wife used to play softball up at the field there, and I used to go out to gun club with my dad as a little kid out to the firing range.
That was a dirt road back then. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
And I get around there a lot. We have friends and people who live out there. But, you know, it was a reminder to me Aurora is one tough place. And what I saw last night was an old-time country western bar with a bunch of people who don't have any kind of status within the community saying, we're tired of this crap and we're grateful that at least one person is standing up and saying no to what's going on. And so I would say that her whole support, it doesn't come from the Chamber of Commerce or, you know, the local colleges that are patting, you know, their political, you know, people on the back, but they're people who realize she's the real deal, and she's standing up for things that matter.
She
so
is, and
that's what I saw.
And now I'm going to go in a different direction here with you in a second, but did you see the video? We brought Danielle on earlier talking about the video when she was confronting the guy. Oh, the ICE guy? What? Good. You saw the ICE video? Did you see that where she's confronting the staffer from Crow out in front of the ICE facility?
Oh, you know, I didn't see any of that.
Okay, that's okay. Now, if you get a chance, go back and watch it. You can find it on her socials. Jeff's got it on his X account. You can find it there. Here's the thing that I think is so cool is that you see Danielle being authentic and genuine while also navigating politics. And she has a background in the military. Jeff was actually out at that event with you last night. Yeah, Jeff was out at that event with you at the Stampede last night and said he said a lot of the same things you said, and he was surprised by her military experience. And if you go back and you watch that video, he and I were talking off air. You can see it. You can see you can see, and this is a hyperbole, but the straightening of the spine. You can see her get into that military mode about, hang on. You're here for it, and she goes through it, and she goes through and just dissects this guy. That's one of the things that I think is underestimated about Danielle is that when she first got into the realm of politics, a lot of people thought, this is a bar owner that's a single mom that's going to be able to. It's like, no. She's an ass kicker. She has got the training to back it up, and I think she leans on that at exactly the right point.
Billy, just to piggyback on what you're saying is, Jason Crow is the poster child for the Democrat Party because of his military experience.
Yeah.
Fabricatory was even pointing out, you know, some interesting things about that military experience that I haven't delved into. And I respect Jason Crow for his military experience. But if you look at the path of his political career, it's all been planned as career advancement.
Yeah.
And Jurinsky, and when Jurinsky took him on at the ICE facility, you know, and took on his personnel, that was the first time I'm disgusted by most politicians in Colorado, mainly because they lack guts. And, you know, I live in Centennial. Centennial doesn't even begin to understand what big city problems are. And Danielle Jurinsky, she's the one who's dealing with that. Centennial has got it so easy. We've got a great mayor.
Well, unfortunately, we've got to go. I've got to cut you off there. I appreciate the time you spent with us. We've got to get to a break. But when we come back, I'm going to share with you a personal story about how the reputation of Aurora has switched 180 degrees now that we've got Jurinsky and the rest of that city council. We'll talk about that in a sec.
You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Bill, you said you had a little story on the reputation of Aurora.
Yes. Now, we know that longtime Coloradans understand the reputation that Aurora has had. Yeah, shout out if you've heard the denigrating name Saudi Aurora. Yeah, that was kind of how it rolled between the 80s and 90s. It was always Denver's the uglier, less impressive younger brother. But recently, I have some anecdotal evidence that has all changed. Okay? I got a really good friend, dude that I've been working in radio for nigh on almost 20 years, on and off. And basically, he's telling me that if I asked him, hey, do you want to live in Denver today or do you want to move to Aurora? He looks at me and goes, dude, I'm moving to Aurora.
That's the Jurinsky effect.
This is KNUS.